This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Craig Quaglia joining us here. Excited to have our myofascial trigger point therapist joining us live today from Forest Park, Illinois. And he's getting ready for the Halloween season, I can tell you that much. But he really is well renowned in his craft and his field for so long. So we're going to talk more to him about that today. And I know he's going to have some surprises for us. Hi, Craig.
Good morning, or in your case, good afternoon. I want you to meet my friend here. And there's a reason we're going to start off with this. Lighten up the day. It's a crazy world out there. So meet my new friend, maybe.
Hi.
So notice the mask went back on. People in pain, when you ask them how they're feeling, this is what they present.
Yeah.
The mask comes down, that's really how they feel. And they're trying to present themselves best to the world in a way that mostly because people don't really care, and they got to get through their day. So anyway, good morning. It's another beautiful day in Chicago. We started with the clown, of course. The clown lightens up the day, okay? So what I wanted to do is show you this too. We talk about pain. Okay, everything's all backwards, I see. Okay, anyway, AARP, their September issue, A Smart Guide to Pain. So pain's a big business. Pain is a big factor in many people's lives. And especially on days like yesterday, we had a nasty low front go through. And all of a sudden, literally, my phone started ringing off the wall, even if we don't have them on the walls. Yeah. Anyway, the bottom line is even yesterday was so intense, I started getting a migraine headache. So I started hearing from my fibro people. I started hearing from my migraine people. So yesterday, I marked as the official beginning of the fibromyalgia season. What does that mean? That means the temperatures are dropping. We get into this damp, cool, wet weather, intense low fronts, and all these things work to make pain more obvious and intense and, messing up people's lives, just making it hard to get through a day. So we welcome autumn, but not necessarily the low fronts, the cold and the wet, all right? So massage therapy, trigger point therapy isn't about just working with the body. And I keep coming back to this, as you well know, it's about relationships. I mean, in your business, I would assume it's the same thing. Mine, though, it's more personal. I'm putting my hands on people. I'm communicating. I'm listening. I'm talking about, and I'm meeting them where they're at. All right. So a great story is the whole goal is always to work to get them back to a place where they're balanced. They can take control of things. They can have fun in life. The joy of life returns. I have several stories about, I'm going to start with the one. This is probably my oldest client, 39 years. And when you talk about relationships, it's not just with that one person. It becomes to impact their family. So I ended up with all 5 of his kids and his wife.
Wow.
And now their kids are starting to show up. So he's in his late 70s. He's retired. He plays tennis. The problem is he's set in his ways. He doesn't come in often enough, and he waits until he's hurt too badly. And then he wants you to pull the rabbit out of the hat and make him better. And it's the inside joke between him and me is, I never had pain until you put your hands on me, kind of situation. Now, this guy's like the bionic man. 2 knees replaced, 1 shoulder replaced, another one going to be replaced in January. The problem is the left shoulder, out of all of these things that he's had replaced, this one he can't have it done till January. And when he came in yesterday, exact words were, "This pain is exhausting."
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of times when we're talking about fibromyalgia, we're talking about pain, we're talking about recovering from a car accident or getting through the day with a migraine. People do not understand the amount of energy and time and effort it takes to be present in the world when your body is malfunctioning
Yeah.
and not making it easier to be that way. So the bottom line, he wishes he was having the surgery today. Okay. He hasn't slept. He looks like hell, actually. The only relief is when I can do some hands-on with him, and apparently heat is helping a little bit. The best I can do for him in this situation is buy him time and give him a little bit of a quality of life to get through the day-to-day stuff, even though it's not going to have a huge impact. He's going to still obviously have the surgery, and then maybe, just maybe, I will play a role in his post-recovery. So the point I want to make here today is sometimes taking care of yourself takes time,
Yeah.
a lot of time and effort. We talk about one of my biggest challenges with people is saying they don't have enough time to do the things that they need to do to take care of them. One way or the other, you're going to have the time. If you don't actively build it in, I can't imagine if you went on air and you didn't do all the things that you needed to do.
Preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have an impact on your appearance and maybe how you feel that day and how you're coming across. It's all very important. Okay. So the thing about this is one way or the other, you're going to have time. The difference is before you get to the point where it turns into a really bad situation where you go down, you still have the choice of taking control of it and impacting it and doing the things that you need to do. But it's a hard sell. It's a
Yeah.
hard sell a lot of times until people. So for me, after my car accident in 2020, it didn't matter if I had time. I had to deal with the issues in order to just get through a day. And by doing that, I invested the time and the effort and the resources to recover quicker than I would have without doing that. And of course, I had no alternative at that point. Thank God I have some of the knowledge and experience about how to work with myself. But we were in the middle of COVID and I
Yeah.
was not going to get the help that I needed. Today, when I work with people, the relationship is part. So how do we start when there's life-changing pain? Well, most of us start by doing the normal thing. We have a situation present itself, we go to the doctor, maybe they prescribe meds, PT, they go, if they're lucky, it'll be a short-term experience. They
Yeah.
revert back to being healthy again or functional, but in a lot of cases they don't. And that's usually when I ended up dealing with them.
Yeah.
We're all aware of the opioid epidemic that came
Yeah.
around and just turned everything upside down,
Yeah.
upside down. I literally had people coming into my office who couldn't put a sentence together at that time. So the bad thing is when they withdrew all those things and suddenly put a lid on it, the doctors couldn't prescribe it as readily, and they shouldn't. They had to come up with other ways of dealing with this. And fortunately, a whole body of research since 2016 has emerged, and
Wow.
a lot of it centers around manual therapies. Unfortunately, opioids, when they're used smartly, can be very successful short term. But if you have to take it longer term, your body builds a resistance to it, and it stops working, and then it takes more and more, and you're in a catch-22. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
So, so one of the things, I may be the greatest myofascial trigger point therapist in the world, he humbly says. And it doesn't matter. If I can't get you to work with me in between sessions, then we go exactly back to where we began. So let's take fibromyalgia again, because
Sure.
we're in that season. Fibromyalgia, people come in, they're on 8, 9, 10, and 10 of pain. They're on
Wow.
drugs, they're moving from doctor to doctor. In the first session, most of the time I can begin to build a case where they begin to trust me, to show them that there's a way out. There's a way that they can take care of things, that take control of things. The problem is I have to get them to buy into the self-care aspect. if they're going to go back and sit at the desk for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, which is not unusual these days, if they're not sleeping, if they're not eating properly, if they're eating the wrong kind of foods, that increases inflammation in their body
Yeah.
and makes them more susceptible to pain, we go back to ground zero.
Yeah.
By the time the next treatment comes around. So what's happening? Resources are going out, money's going out because a lot of times they're paying out of their pocket. And we're starting over. So by getting credibility in the first couple of sessions to show them that they can get better, then we could start the process of beginning to build on them taking it over and taking it away from me. All right. So let's just talk about, have you ever had a stiff neck?
Plenty
Yes.
of times.
Oh,
A
okay.
lot of times.
Yes, I know. I watch your body mechanics.
Now
I'm
I'm
like, well,
grabbing. Now I'm like, oh yeah.
yeah. So what happens? Your body suddenly shuts down in a limited range of motion to prevent you from going into the area that hurts, correct? All
Very
right.
true.
So we call that splinting or armoring.
Yep.
Now, for you, that would be a sudden onset. For me, that would be something easy for us to work together and to especially if you came in right away, to really get control of it. All right. So when you become, now, if you've had that for a few weeks, you were too busy, you couldn't get into the doctor or a therapist. So that all those 2-3 weeks, you're just going up to here, just turning your head to the point where it begins to create pain. One, that's your body protecting you, but it's also your body telling you that I'm not going to let you go beyond this point. Even when you can do it, you might still be able to do it. All right. So when you come in, my conversation with that section of your body is, nope, this is not acceptable.
Nope.
We go in, and especially if you come in immediately, we can take it out. I can show you how to do it and prevent you from losing your range of motion, which, by the way, this simple act is the #1 reason for car accidents. Losing the ability to look over your shoulder while you're driving, okay? So you don't want to lose that. So the bottom line is, the sooner you come in, the better, all right? But when you get to a point, maybe there's a reason it didn't get better immediately. Maybe it'll take a few treatments. So what I need to do then is teach you in between those sessions, so we can limit the number of sessions, how to take care of yourself, how to get rid of me so you don't need me. I'm a great guy. I'm a fun-loving guy. I love my job, but you got better things to do on a Saturday or 5 o'clock at night on a cold evening than to be coming to see me. You agree?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So this is where we become a team. This is where I start to show you what to do. I show you the tools. I show you the techniques. And fortunately, different research has showed all kinds of different approaches have emerged that I can use with you to relieve pain, and I can show you how. Sometimes the trap is that you might start taking ibuprofen or one of the opioids that you had laying around, and that's fine. Short term, it might be useful. Long term, you can do all kinds of damage to your body. I have people sometimes coming in that are taking 7, 8 of these things a day over a period of time. So you think on one hand, it may be helping the inflammation. On the other hand, it's slowly causing damage in other parts of your body. Most of those things are meant to be done short term. Okay. So now, because of all the setbacks and all the problems with the drugs and the opioids, a tremendous amount of research was done at the governmental level. And one of the things they found is there's ways to activate your own opioid system in your body, also known as the endorphins, okay? A lot of times people talk about the Rocky Mountain high or the runner's high or exercise high. That's you releasing your own painkillers into your body, stimulating it, and creating almost a sense of euphoria, particularly when you've been in the stress, a flight or stress cycle that you're in. So here's the thing. There's nothing out there drug-wise that's more powerful than the one you can create in your body, as long as you can learn or find a way to take control of it and use it to your benefit. And you might think this is a difficult thing to do. It really isn't. When you were talking about the running, had you gotten
Yeah.
into it and become
Hmm.
a running, my runners, I said this to you before, my runners are nuts. And now I understand why. It's the endorphins. It allows them to get through a day. It creates a way of breaking up the stress in their life. And they're doing it just by running. Now they're taking it to the extreme. You don't necessarily have to do it, but you can create endorphins in your body simply by moving, walking, running, dancing. You know, you just create this endorphin high, and immediately your body just starts to relax and the pain goes away. It's not that it's not there. It becomes your systems of your body become more balanced. You really, and I say this to my patients all the time, if you were one of my patients and we were in the middle, I would say to you, you're a complicated woman, just in ways you never wanted to have to deal with. Okay. So,
I
so
like that.
yeah. But the longer a pain pattern goes on, the more a person becomes afraid of moving or activating that pain. And so this is again where I got to create a situation where I get their confidence and show them, open the door to show them that we can get beyond that. And so we talked about the fibro and the stiff neck. So by opening up the door and creating a situation for at least an hour or half a day or 2 days, you feel better before the symptoms return, I've made my case. And now I have some credibility. And now I can
Yeah.
begin to work with you. So by beginning the hands-on work, we begin to activate the endorphin system, and now we're creating a cause and effect situation. All right.
Yeah.
So, and that's important because if you don't buy in, it doesn't matter. You're not going to come back, but if you allow the fear to stop you at that point, and sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4 sessions before we can get past that, each time building on the fact that the pain reduces, lasts longer, they have a better quality of life. So manual therapy, why is it such a big deal? Why did the research say this is better than drugs? You're activating the nervous system by simple touch. You're beginning to go in and desensitize your automatic learned responses right now that you're locked into that are preventing you from getting better. And it could be myofascial techniques. It could be, myofascial release, even massage. They all stimulate pressure receptors in the skin and soft tissues. Now, we think, you only think of in terms of skin and soft tissue, but everything's
Yeah.
innervated. Everything goes back to the spinal cord, back to the brain. So this activates the nervous system, leading to a wonderful thing called hormonal cascades, good hormonal cascades, okay? So the hormonal and neurotransmitters that are released, as well as specifically the endorphins, and then of course other things like serotonin and dopamine. This just lights you up inside. Life starts to be good again. The pain goes down. You begin to think that there's hope, that you're going to get past this, that you at least to get to a more relaxed state, at least in that moment of time. And of course, the goal is to expand that moment of time and make it into something that becomes a daily life. Okay. Elevated mood. Okay. There's nothing to be upset about that. Endorphins, hormones contribute to the sense of euphoria, and it's legal. You're not going to jail for this euphoria. You got it right there. You can create it for yourself. You feel good. You look around. The world's not such a bad place. Oh, there's a monarch butterfly. I didn't notice that before. You're in the moment. You're conscious. You're not dealing with the pain in your body. So once I can open up the relationship and start looking for the approaches that'll work uniquely for you and have you buy into it and show you enough that when you go home that night or you call me up the next day, I didn't know what to do. Can you tell me that? Once we're on the same page, I can coach you through it and boom, you're
Yeah.
like, it works. I've had people, honest to God, I've had people call me from the Andes mountain. I hurt myself. What can I do? Why they're climbing the mountain, or the middle of China where she sprained her ankle at 4 o'clock in the morning because nobody there knew what to do. So, uh, because we're on the same page, we found the place that worked for that person. So there are different approaches to bring down the inflammation, and you can choose all kinds of things: mindful exercises, meditation, tai chi, yoga, dancing, breathing exercises. The problem is to get people to do these things. I'm too busy, the family, which goes back to what I said before. If you don't consciously start to confront these things, you're going to go down one way or the other. The family, the job, all the other things are going to go on, even though you're not feeling well, or you're down, or you're not at your optimal or your best.
Yeah.
So figuring out how to reach you in a way that you will utilize the technique. So a lot of times people go, oh, when I go home, I just go sit down and watch TV. Okay, great. They're telling me about the TV show. You can be doing your self-care while you're watching TV. And they're like, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh, I do have time.
Yeah, exactly.
Finding the place where they can no longer use it as an excuse, I don't have time. All right. And we've already made the case of you can get better, you feel better.
Of course
now
you
we
can.
want to expend that. So let's talk a little bit about acute pain versus chronic pain, because when we're talking about life-changing pain, we're talking about a lot of cases where acute pain was ignored, mishandled, or a disease process has come along like diabetes or fibromyalgia, whatever, and it progresses to a chronic pain syndrome, which is changing your life, okay?
Yep.
And, our car accident, like in my case. All right, so acute and chronic pain are two distinctly different types of pain, and they differ in their duration and underlying causes that are the result of them. Acute pain is a short-term pain, and I just learned something new, because we used to tell people that it usually lasts for less than 3 months. The new definition says 6 months. I'm not liking that new definition. If you're in pain for 6 months, we've blown it somewhere along the way in an acute situation. It's usually a specific one, like holding the phone to your ear all day. Yes.
I got that one too. I used to have that bad.
Yeah. So, sudden onset is what it becomes. Sprained ankle is another one. These, those are just a few of the more common ones. The intensity of acute pain can vary from mild to severe. When it's severe, you got to pay attention. Think sprained ankle. You cannot ignore that in the moment. All right. And we have all kinds of great new ways to work on sprained ankles. I get excited when somebody works with a sprained ankle coming in the door, especially if they do it 34 to 26 hours. Everybody's shocked. We can shut that sucker down and show you.
Great.
Yeah. And, and everybody, we're always surprised. And it's great all kinds of things. Chronic pain, though, may be less intense. All right. It can be debilitating in different ways. What it does, to go back to the guy with the left shoulder and saying how exhausting it, chronic pain becomes exhausting. It drains. It really drains the person on every level of their life. And it's often very deep, very persistent and achy, and just never lets go. And that's no way to live. Just not. So we talked a little bit about causes. We talk injuries, surgeries for acute pain. Sometimes we call it sudden onset. You banged your hand into the wall doing something. That's going to be acute pain, sudden onset. It's short term. You're going to be able to get past it really quick. Chronic pain may be less intense, can be debilitating, interfering with your daily life. And that's really the problem, when it interferes with your daily life, when you're trying to find a way to get through the day, and you move this way and you move that way and you go back this way, and or you got to get up and walk around, do something to relieve the pain. So the causes are, like we said, surgery, infections. Now, acute pain, the treatment is usually fairly easy, but it's becoming controversial. Of course, we talk about pain relievers. All right. Short-term use, usually good, easy. You can get some good results. Rest, ice, heat, they address the underlying uh, causes. The immediate cause, I slapped my hand into the wall, or
Mm-hmm.
I did something stupid because I wasn't paying attention
Oh, yeah.
all day long. Okay. So the management, it just involves a combination of things. We talked about the pain relievers, physical therapies, maybe if it's, too bad, especially if you're talking about it's gone past 3 months, myofascial trigger point, lifestyle, modifications. You try to address the thing that's causing the pain and cause it to shut down. So one of the things we do, there used to be an old standby called RICE. When you sprained the ankle or had a sudden
Yeah.
onset pain. So RICE means rest, ice, compression, elevation. For decades, this was the Bible. This is what we did. Well, sometimes it's a good idea. Sometimes it's not. Now we're finding out, especially when you get into the 6-month cycle with the acute pain, the reason why you're in the 6-month cycle is by doing the things you're doing, you're interrupting the pain spasm pain cycle, and you're allowing it to decrease short term, but you're not dealing with the
Yeah.
long-term inflammation. All right. Maybe somebody, for instance, who talks about their jaw hurting because they clench their teeth all day. That's a major one that causes headaches. Sure, we can go in and address that, show you how to self-treat it, get you out of it. That would be an acute pain short-term situation where we might not necessarily have to do drugs. We go directly to where the problem is. The acute inflammation, such as it usually has swelling, heat, redness. These are all important things that go directly to your central nervous system, your body, and say, yo, we got a fire over here. Bring everybody in. Stem cells, mast cells, endorphins, we need you now. All right. But if you're going in and you're tamping down the fire without actually putting it all the way out, what happens is you still have a fire. It's long-term, it's low key, it's constant, and now it progresses into a chronic state. Okay. All right, so chronic inflammation spreads. The problem with chronic inflammation, when we're talking about these things, is it begins to spread through the whole body. The more obvious ones would be arthritis, for instance. It's easy to understand. It's attacking your bones, it's attacking your joints. If you get to a certain age, there's a good chance you'll have, from sitting all day, you're going to have a little osteoarthritis in your lower back, knees, hips. Now, if you're the smart gal I think you are, you're doing things at the end of the day, stretching, maybe you're going out to work out or aerobic workout. Whatever it is, you're going to figure out the things that keep you functioning at your optimal. Okay. But they came up with a new way of addressing it, instead of the RICE. And I don't know who came up with this acronym. It's called MEAT. You won't forget this one, MEAT. All right, MEAT. So MEAT means mild movements. Just if you, in between these sessions, maybe you find yourself getting up and moving around and increasing, you might feel tightness in your lower back or your shoulder. You start doing crazy things just to move, get the blood flow, loosen up muscle, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue. Maybe at the end of the day, you go out and you do exercise. I don't hear you saying yes. I don't hear you saying no about this. These are movements that are designed for you specifically to address the things that you insult your body with all day long. So we're looking for bruised or swollen tissue, get it to move. Maybe you've had a localized surgery like a wisdom tooth pulled out. These are all things that you address that could progress to chronic and you need to deal with, and you find ways to do it. You may use a pain reliever. More and more we're using herbals like arnica, turmeric, capsicum. You can get these things in
different things.
Yeah, and topical greens. 20 years ago when I would bring this up, they're like, what are you, one of those voodoo people or witch hunter? Yeah,
Well, we're just about out of time. Sorry, we only have 20 seconds left. I'm sorry, Craig. So we
that's
have to kind
okay.
of wrap it up for
All
today.
right. So the treatment, all the above, myofascial trigger point therapy, physical therapy, in tandem with all the different things, you have choices, and we work together to find what is the best thing for you. Ta-da, we're done.
Perfect. Thank you. How can we contact you? Quick, tell us the website.
Okay, Craig Quaglia, myofascial trigger point therapy.com, I think.
Beautiful.
I think that's correct.
I think that's right. That's what I have.
708. Okay, good. 708-524-8812.
Perfect. Thank you so
Yay.
much. CraigQuagliaTriggerPointExpert.com. Thank you.
Good to see you. Have a good week.
You too. Bye. Happy
Bye-bye.
Halloween.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.